Well, hello, and welcome to After the Show. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, and I hope you listen to this week's episode about where to focus in 2025. What the focus? What are you focusing on? That's what Steve Jobs said a lot at Apple. What the focus? And where are you focusing? What was your big takeaway? I hope that you had a really solid one that you feel strong about, you feel excited about, you're ready to get your team involved in, and you are ready to take on 2025. Because like I ended that episode, I said, let's make 2025 the year that we look back on and we're like, that was a turning point. That was the tipping point. That was pivotal. That year, that was the year. Let's do it. All right. Now we're going to continue this conversation because that episode went a little bit longer. I had a lot to cover and I did not talk about these store tours that I did. So, these were incredible. I had the opportunity to go into several different stores and some of them they knew we were coming and some of them they did not. So that was a little awkward, but most of them knew we were coming. And we had the opportunity by either being greeted and getting a tour from an ambassador of the store, or that's like part of their job that they do these tours. Like at Hermes, we had a person who took us through and he highlighted the building and the features and why they did certain things. And it was really cool to have him and have that behind the scenes. We had that at American Dream, the mall in New Jersey as well. I'm actually going to spend most of my time in this episode today talking about that experience because it was phenomenal. And then some of these, it was just sort of like a tour, but you might pick up different design aspects or what's relevant right now. Again, these are the biggest brands. Just to kind of give you a high level of who I'm going to talk about here today. Apple, Dior, Tiffany's, Hermes, Sephora, Restoration Hardware, American Dream, Levi's, Gentle Monster, and that's it. So let's dive in. First, we started at Apple and the Apple store on Fifth Ave. If you haven't been in, go in. The way that it is designed, it's underground, but the lighting are open. So you see it's like skylights basically. And they did that intentionally to have natural light. It feels good in there. It also saves money having natural lighting. So that was a very smart design. They have a lot of plants. It just feels comfortable. And when you look around, you notice that there are a lot of employees. They are stocked up. And the employee's job is to teach. They are there to teach their customers. Sometimes they will spend an hour helping somebody learn something and they don't buy anything. And where I got just really happy about that is I thought about my grandma. And, she's not technologically savvy. It's very overwhelming. It's frustrating. And if she could go into an Apple store here and sit down with a guy or gal at Apple and just chat with them for an hour and understand her phone better, that is so meaningful to my grandma. And so in last episode, on Sunday's episode, the full version, I talked about belonging to the brand. And that is so an example of like really wanting to belong to a brand that takes the time to sit with me, even though I may not buy anything. But I obviously did buy something. I bought the phone. I am a customer, but it's not all about the transaction all the time. Like we talked about, it's about creating that experience and the connection. And so they also had a group of people in and they were doing this VR tutorial and they were all like wearing VR sets. And it was like an experience, very immersive experience in store. That was really neat to see. So I loved being there. It's 24/7 also. So I thought that was pretty crazy that they have team members working all the time. Dior. Then we went over to Dior and man, I mean, just high end luxury. This was the Fifth Ave tour that we did. These are just called retail store tours by Daniel Hodges, who does these for different events and different groups and just really great. And so in Dior, beautiful. I so badly wanted to shop. There were a pair of boots in there that was like, oh my gosh. But you know what stood out for me in Dior was the lighting. Oh my gosh, the lighting was perfect. It was so comfortable. It was so relaxing. It just like, kind of hard for me to explain. the impact the lighting had on me while I was in there, which made me want to stay. It made me look at things slower, made me look at more things. The dwell time definitely increased for me. Wasn't an in and out, get me out of here. It was a very like, oh my gosh, I want to just chill here for a bit. I loved the lighting. So the power of lighting. They also had this area. I'll post this on social. I took so many pictures and I need to get these on our Instagram, or I'll put them in our Facebook group for the show. But they had this wall that was built out, and on the inside was a really big crystal rock. And you had all these little like crystals with jewelry inside. And then it was behind glass. Beautiful way to display jewelry, and just a like gasp moment. It was just so beautiful. I had a really lovely experience in there. It was also interesting because some of the items, especially by the door, were, had like wires on them that were attached. And anytime that got picked up, a sales associate was notified to come over and help. So a level of attention to detail when we're talking luxury. Speaking of luxury, we then went over to Tiffany's on Fifth Ave. And I go to New York City a lot. I love it. I love taking people there. This is why I want to do my own store tours in New York City. I always take people on Fifth Ave. That's shopping, right? And so Tiffany's has been closed for a while. They were renovating and now it's open. Oh my gosh, you've got to go inside. 5 floors. I just wanted to go back and spend the whole day there and find my most favorite piece. And then that'd be my goal for Rooted in Retail. Like, this is a personal goal. I want to get to this place where I can buy this item. Like, oh, there's so many pretty things in there. I loved being in that store, but they also had on the first floor an entire wall of these like TVs almost that would show cityscapes. They felt like mirrors, but they were TVs, and they can change them out for different holidays or for daytime, nighttime, springtime. There's the cherry blossoms, like a very cool seasonal experience in New York City by using that wall. Very cool. There was also a Aubrey Hep. I always mess up her name. Audrey Hepburn or Aubrey Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's. A little cool exhibit of her in there. The dining tables that they had. They also have these private rooms where people can propose. You know, you think that you're just looking at items and then they actually propose. So the fact that they have private rooms is next level also. Really immersive shopping experience and gorgeous. We then went to Hermes, and I loved the tour. Our tour guide, I think he was called a brand ambassador, but he just really took us through the story. And what was cool is that Hermes, it's my understanding that they started from an equestrian perspective, helping with saddles for horses. And so they bring their roots into the store design. You'll see saddles as store fixtures. You'll see interesting artwork of a jockey with no horse or something that kind of connects back to equestrian. So I liked that they had little sprinkles of their history. The ambassador who took us through said, we really care about storytelling. And that was so inspiring. Like, if you look at your store, how are you storytelling through the art on the wall, through the fixtures you're using, through how you're merchandising products? They have scarves, and they would have them wired out. And so like kind of wired through so you could see the full scarf. And then behind was a light, a square light. So it really lit the scarf. And it was just such a nice way of displaying the item. Dior also had a really cool way of displaying scarves. I don't think I got a picture of that one, but we're using them as wall art, essentially. It was really neat. So the other thing that was cool about the Hermes store in New York City is that they said it's sort of as a tree, like as you go up. So you have like the root on the first floor. And then as you go up, it kind of gets lighter and lighter. And then on the second floor, you are kind of in the trees, especially during springtime. So they're kind of like bringing in nature in the design of the store, just really cool things. Also, I loved their bathroom. I specifically said, I've seen your bathrooms go viral on TikTok. Where's the restroom? And he's like, oh yeah, they're an experience in their own. Go in and make sure you use the soap. It's our own soap. Oh my gosh, the Hermes soap in the bathroom. Beautiful. It smelled so beautiful. Definitely got a bathroom selfie because the bathroom was gorgeous. Then moving on, Sephora. What I was impressed by there is their technology. Did you know that Sephora, every single store, every employee has a device. They're all trained on it. And the device, you hold it up to your forehead and it analyzes your skin. I think they also do the cheeks and maybe the chin. And it is analyzing the skin cells. And then through AI technology, it's coming up with what your skin type is and what kind of products and makeup you need for skincare and for makeup. I mean, it's phenomenal. You immediately have your whole groupings of everything you need and they email it to you in a matter of like, that took about 3 minutes for them to do. That is next level retail technology. It's incredible. Restoration Hardware. Man, those stores are gorgeous. And the one in Meatpacking District is just so beautiful. The building, the area, I loved it. What really stood out to me was number one, they had a table of catalogs and they still send catalogs. Consumers still like shopping catalogs. And I know that you probably know that because I know our retailers also like looking through catalogs when they're buying products from your vendors and wholesalers. Consumers like it too. Also, the level of detail, attention to detail, and the symmetry. Things are perfectly measured and symmetric and just like perfect. There's no line that's out of whack. It's so clean. It's so beautiful. And in fact, I think we were on the third floor and we were talking to the sales associate there. And she was saying, we were kind of talking about the symmetry. And she's like, well, if you look, this couch, we call it our cloud sofa, and it's one of our best sellers. And we have it in all four corners. If you look, it was framing the space upstairs, big space, framing the space using 4 of the same sofas. But they did that intentionally to create sort of that vignette, to create that look and that feeling that they wanted of the precise, everything is the same in these 4 corners instead of featuring 4 different sofas. So they've got the real estate, but they're using the same item 4 different ways to create that visual appeal. I mean, oh, it was so cool. And then they have a restaurant upstairs. Did you know that? I did not know that. Meatpacking, restoration hardware. It'd be so cool to do a retail meetup there. I can't wait to go back and eat. Also, with restoration hardware, you walk around the corner and there's a really cool structured building. You can Google this. It's the Restoration Hardware Guest Rooms, or maybe they call it Guest House. RH Guest House. And these are for their clients. You cannot book these online. It's places to stay. It's like a hotel for their clients. And downstairs, there's a restaurant, dining that you can go to, the dining room. That's next level experience. You want to talk about being audacious in your customer experience, which I will teach at Evolve, how to really be audacious and come up with awesome, incredible ideas to stand out. That is an audacious idea. It was so neat. Okay, I want to finalize with American Dream. And I'm just going to go through this really quick because I like to keep these after the show pretty tight. I could do a whole probably hour-long episode on American Dream. I was blown away by this mall. It is a mall in New Jersey, easy ride from the city, and it was packed. Like, holy cow, I've never seen a mall. It reminded me when I was a kid and you would go to the mall during Christmas time and it was like so busy. That's what was happening in the middle of January. It was so busy. And what they're doing is they're integrating attractions and experiences. So you can go to a water park that's kept at 85 degrees inside. We went inside and you like actually feel like you're at the beach. It was wild. You could go skiing or snowboarding. They have slopes in this mall. We went in there. There's actual snow. It was really cold. There's an ice skating rink. There's karaoke where you can karaoke with a hologram. Of like an artist from New Jersey, which is wild. They had a roller coaster, Ferris wheel outside. They're really capitalizing on the attractions. Now, this is obviously something that independents, you're not going to launch all this. But the point is that they're driving traffic by creating experiences and attractions and entertainment. And then shopping is almost the byproduct of that, like the ripple effect. But people are really going there to be entertained. It massively increases their dwell time. It creates these engaging experiences. People talk about it, post about it, host birthdays there, do all sorts of things. I mean, it's nuts. something that really blew my mind as we went into these individual stores is we were inside the Levi's store, which they do really cool things in there as far as custom patchwork. I loved that as an experience. They had a little in the center of the store. You could buy patches. I think you could also bring in your own and they could do it right there on the spot for you. So cool. But they kicked us out because we were standing in the store talking about the patchwork. And they said, hey guys, if you're not going to buy anything, I have to ask you to leave, because their technology was recording us and it was tracking how long we were staying in the store and if we're buying anything or not. And they based their whole scorecard and their whole success of the day based on those metrics. That was interesting on retail technology, right? Like pretty crazy. We also went to several different stores, but a standout for me personally was a store called Gentle Monster. They are a sunglass eyewear company, and they had really cool installations, like these life-size buffaloes that turn their head and this weird kind of installation in the back. And it was just funky and different and cool. Like you're going to a museum and you're seeing the art, but you can also buy sunglasses. I wanted to be in there longer. It was interesting. I also fell in love with their sunglasses, and I put on my to-do list to go to the Vegas store because I'll be there next week. And I think that they have like maybe a lifetime customer with me because I was so impressed with what they're doing. It was such a standout line. I mentioned this in the first episode, is the Japanese clothing store where they just created such a cool experience inside. And there was a line of people trying to get in that store, not for a special event. They just wanted to go shopping there. That was definitely a standout. And then upstairs at American Dream, they call that the Avenues. And that's where more of the luxury lines live. And I thought that was cool to kind of categorize different parts and have that. I think that as an independent, you could have maybe a certain area in your store that you brand it something else. So I've seen this, of course, where you've got like the clearance closet, or, I see it a lot with clearance and sale, but I think you could do something that's elevated or unique or special or different that pulls in. Could be seasonal. It could be something really personal to you, connects to the town, a specific line. Like there's really some neat opportunities there, and giving it a name and calling it something, especially if you have a larger store. Then people talk about it. Like I was shopping at the Avenues today. Oh, what's the Avenues? Oh, the Avenues are inside of this retail store. It's so awesome. You got to go. So that was really cool. The thing with American Dream, I think what made this tour incredible was the manager, Brian, took us around. He showed us all sorts of things of what's happening in the store, to have his attention, even though he's so busy. I mean, he had several calls while he was meeting with us, but the fact that he took the time, I had a chance to walk and talk with him a little bit. And I asked him, what is the size of your social media team? And they have 12 people on staff to manage their social media. They have a lot of stores and attractions and things going on. And so I kind of thought that was interesting because I wondered how he would answer it. Like, oh, we're not really putting too much effort, or what are they doing? But he said, he's like, correct me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong. But what I kind of feel like is, we have a team right now. We're newer. We have to build our brand. People don't know about us yet, but probably in about 5 years, we won't need the team. Like he didn't necessarily say that, but we won't need to be posting as much of our own content because other people are posting for us. For example, Kim Kardashian was in and she posted something about American Dream and how it's her kid's favorite place to go. Well, that like blew up. They can't plan that kind of post. Their team of 12 can't come up with the most epic idea to have a viral post be more than the Kim K post. Like that's the power of influence and big audiences, and just these companies go viral. In fact, when we were on our tour, this kid came up in a tux to one of the girls that was on the tour and got down on one knee and proposed to her. And he had his friend filming him and she said yes. And so then he had a speaker and he pressed play and it was celebration music. And then his two friends came over with a box of chocolates and a bouquet, sad bouquet of wilting flowers, and gave them to her. And they were filming it all for probably TikTok. And Brian, the manager, just stood back and smiled and watched them do that. And as they left, he was like, we love the TikTokers. It's free press. I welcome this. Like he just loves when they come in and create the content. And I thought that was a really good mindset, because if you have people in store taking pictures and doing selfies or little dances or creating content, especially if you have an area for them, it's Instagrammable, it's cool, it's hip, they're marketing for you. That's free. And they're driving their friends in and their moms are buying. And it just is a ripple effect of really building the business. So I loved his mentality on that. So there's so much more I could talk about. Oh, there is a store, and I'm going to have to put it in the show notes because I don't have it in front of me. It was a Southern clothing store. And we were back and, it was a big store, but they had a really big fitting area, like the fitting rooms. And there was a fireplace and a place to sit in the wider halls. And so it's taking up real estate back there, right? Like every square foot matters. And so it was bigger. It was interesting that they chose that, but that's the experience they wanted. Almost like it's comfortable. I'm at my house just trying on clothes. But then we were talking to one of the associates and she said that if somebody needs like a different size of something, they use RFID technology and they've got these devices and then they can plug it in and they'll go out on the floor to find the advice, to find the item. And the device will start beeping as they get closer to the item because of RFID technology. Isn't that crazy? Like imagine if you have a big store and you're just trying to find an item, or you're in your back room and you're trying to find an item somewhere for somebody and it is this device is beeping like a metal detector. Oh, you're getting closer. I just thought that was wild. There was another store that's doing some stuff with RFID where you just take, let's say you have 5 t-shirts and all you do is just put it in the basket 1, put it in the basket 2, put it in the basket 3, 4, 5, and that's it. And it says you have 5 items and here's your price. No scanning. It was all done through the RFID technology and the tag. That was definitely a hot topic at National Retail Federation. I, in all transparency, haven't done enough research on that topic to see how easy that is to bring into store. I do feel like it is more of a big box technology, but I think that it's important for us as small businesses, if it is harder for us to at least understand what's out there and where we're going and what consumers' expectations are. So the big boxes are training the consumers to have the expectation that checkout is very easy. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to scan anything. I just need to put items into a basket. And so how can we make our checkout experience enjoyable, easy, effortless as much as we can with the resources that we have? And I understand that, we probably can't do RFID. That's okay. But there are probably other things that we can do. And it comes back to those customer touch points and how are we elevating them, which of course I'm going to talk about at Evolve and I cannot wait. So those are my store tours. I would love to hear from you. Do you want to go on a store tour with me? We would go to many stores and it would most likely be in New York City. And I would bring along a merchandising expert who could give us a little homework before, some things to look for. She'll talk about why things are a certain way. We'll all be together and learn a couple hours. Are you interested? If you are, go to the Facebook group, the Rooted in Retail Podcast Facebook group, and say, I'd love to go on a store tour. You could also email me to crystal@rootedinretail.com. And finally, our retail therapy special segments are coming back soon. So if you would like to be a guest on Retail Therapy, where we give therapy to retailers, then please email me at crystal@rootedinretail.com. Use the subject line Retail Therapy and briefly share with me the challenge or issue you're struggling with where you'd like some extra support. The therapist that's coming on this time is one of the most brilliant businesswomen I've ever met. And she's very strategic. And man, she has done so much for my business. She's also speaking at Evolve, Corrine Walsh-Zar. She's a powerhouse woman. Oh my gosh. If you're going to Evolve, I hope it's hard because she's breakouts. It's hard to pick people. Ooh, she's good. And she's participating in the whole event. So you can have some access to her. But if you are willing to be a guest on the show, email me. I'd love to have you. Remember that I am rooting for your success. Go get your Evolve ticket and use the code ROOTED to save money because I want to see you there. It's going to change the game of your business. All right. Have a great week ahead. Bye. Okay, I have exciting news to share. The Rooted in Retail Mastermind is launching this January. It's your chance to connect deeper with me, the retail pros from the show, and an incredible community of resilient retailers, both online and in person, with several meetups throughout the year. Get on the waitlist at rootedinretail.com/waitlist. And don't just listen to the show, be a part of the magic and grow your store with us. I hope to see you there.